Class today, I realized that some of you need extended help for the parts of your body paragraph. So I wanted to give another tutorial that will be a little shorter than the last one, but hopefully it will answer some of the questions that some of you are still struggling with. So what I've done is I've taken a portion of your overall outline and I've created a version that gives it filled in, that gives you an idea what it is I'm actually looking for. The major difference between this and the writing prompts that you've been doing in class is that this is going to be a full essay as opposed to just a writing prompt piece. So what some of you are struggling with is the idea of an essay is that there is a thesis that is the argument for the whole paper, and then there are proof paragraphs that are more specific. So one of the proof paragraphs is about World War II. And on your outline, you're going to notice that there is a Roman numeral 2, and I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. There's a Roman numeral 2 that says World War II next to it. You need to turn that into a proof sentence. So one of the examples that I did was I put World War II impacted individuals and countries' social, economic, or social, psychological, and technological opportunity. I didn't specify Americans here. You may want to say American opportunity because we do focus in on the United States. I'll leave that up to you. But the reason you're going to notice is with my proof sentences, I actually clarify the three types of opportunity that I'm going to be talking about in this paragraph. So as a grader of this, when I look at your A, B, and C statement, I'm going to expect that social, psychological, and technological are covered. Remember, you need to do three different types of opportunity for each of the proof paragraphs, just so we're clear. All right, so that's your overarching sentence. So what you've done is you've created almost like a mini thesis statement. So everything in this body paragraph about World War II is going to support this statement that I have highlighted. Okay, so every analysis statement that you create needs to refer to this proof statement. Then the next thing I did was I chose the piece of evidence that I want to talk about. And in this case, I chose a quote from the internment camp web activity from Mary Tsukamoto. But this is how you write an essay. I cannot assume that my reader, and yes, I know that I am the reader of this, but any reader should be able to pick this up. They do not know who Mary Tsukamoto was. So your A statement is not the traditional introduce who Mary is. You actually have to introduce the event as well. So I put on December 7th, 1941, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, which forced the United States to enter World War II. Due to the fear that Japanese alien residents and citizens might spy for Japan, President Roosevelt developed Executive Order 9066, which interned all Japanese Americans and alien residents in camps. One such internee was Mary Tsukamoto. Now you're going to notice that my A statement can be more than one sentence in these, but it should be no more than 2 to 3. I don't want this to turn into like a huge paragraph. But in these couple sentences, I should know what it is you're talking about. Okay, they're talking about the bombing of Pearl Harbor. I've even clarified the president developed this executive order and they interned Japanese, and one of these internees was Mary Tsukamoto. And then I would go into my specs. So with your A statement, you have two jobs you need to do. You need to introduce your event, whatever war you're talking about, Cold War. If it's McCarthy, you need to introduce who Joseph McCarthy is before you can even give the quote. Then your specs is a definition of whatever it is you're talking about. So if you talk about the crisis in Iran, you define where Iran is, talk about, the crisis occurred during the Cold War, then your specs would describe what happened during the crisis very specifically. It should include who, what, where, when, and why. All right. But in this case, I'm giving a quote. So my definition of my specs is going to be a little different. But then I go on to say, during her internment, she stated, notice I embed the quote. I don't start the specs with a quote. And so I started to gather rice. She talks about her experience. I'm not going to read the full quote, but I do want to draw your attention to the fact that I've embedded the quote. And at the end, I have a citation. Technically, in MLA formatting, which I didn't do correctly on purpose, your period should go at the end of the parentheses. I notice a lot of you putting it at the end of the quote. So make sure you put the quotation mark and then the period goes at the end of the parentheses. For your citation, it's going to vary. It can be from whatever the title of the document is that you have from class. If you're using the web activity, it would be the Smithsonian. So make sure you're relevant. Don't just put notes. Please specify the title of whatever it is you're talking about. So I've given this quote by Mary Tsukamoto, and I've decided that based on this quote and based on where I want to go, that this one is going to support psychological. That means my B and C will have to focus on social and technological. If I were doing social, I could focus on women. Technological, I could focus on the Jeep, radar, the B-17, etc. But my analysis, this is where I use the word opportunity. You notice that in my A statement, you didn't see opportunity at all. I don't want you to introduce the opportunity. I want you to introduce the specs. You're going to support the word opportunity because you already have the to statement created. So my analysis says, due to internment, internees psychological, and I would say internees, I should say, like Mary, critiquing myself here, Tsukamoto, like Mary Tsukamoto's, psychological opportunities were impacted because she was forced to leave her home, which made her feel uncertain and unsure of what was going on, which increased anxiety and fear. I have to put myself in the place of Mary Tsukamoto. Psychology is mental state. Where do you think someone's mental state or emotions would be? A lot of you would say, I'm getting like, due to internment, Mary lost stuff. That doesn't really tell me psychological opportunity. I need to put myself, if this was happening to me and all this stuff was going on based on what she said, how would I feel? And I would feel uncertain and unsure. And I know that my anxiety and fear would be increased because of this situation. That is a logical assumption that I can make based on the quote that I just analyzed. What a lot of you are forgetting to do is you are forgetting your because. Some of you are putting Mary Tsukamoto's psychological opportunities, due to internment, I'm going to get rid of this, sorry. Due to internment, Mary Tsukamoto's psychological opportunities were impacted. And I'm getting that as a sentence. You need to put the because, and this comes from your opinion. Because why? Why would her psychology be impacted? I need to reflect on the quote. This poor person she's having to gather all these types of foods. They're not sure what they can bring. They have no idea where they're going. Like, psychologically, that would totally mess with somebody's mind and create feelings of uncertainty, unsuredness, anxiety, and fear. And that's what I relay in my analysis statement. Okay. So what I'm stressing to you is that you need to make sure that you're meeting these requirements and watching this tutorial to get that support. I'm still struggling with some of you treating this like a regular prompt and not as an essay. You're literally going to have three main proof statements. So this is just one. When you get down to 3 and 4, you have to change your topics. Your 3 is going to talk about the early part of the Cold War, and 4 will talk about the Vietnam War. I hope this helps. And as always, if you have any questions or thoughts, please don't hesitate to email me, abarksdale@sau73.org. And good luck on your essay.